Chapter 3, Section 4 is about solving multi-step inequalities, which is much like solving multi-step equations, only with the inequality rules. This one is split into two parts. By the end, you should be able to write an inequality to model real-life situations and solve these linear inequalities. All right, so this is review. These are just one steps, and I want you to be able to solve them. These you should be able to pause here and come back and check my answers when you're finished. All right, I'm glad you came back. Take a second to check to make sure that your answers match with mine, and then we'll move on to the new stuff for today. Okay, what are the solutions of 9 plus 4t is greater than 21? Notice that we now have two steps. This is kind of like a couple and the third wheel problem, like we talked about in class if you were here. So the first thing I want to do when I'm trying to get t alone is I want to subtract 9, get rid of that third wheel, leaving me with 4t is greater, than 12. Okay, and last step, to get the 4 and the t apart, I need to divide by 4, leaving me with t is greater than 3. So anything greater than 3 would be a solution of 9 plus 4t is greater than 21. All right, we have 3 of them to solve here. Starting with this one, here we want to get the a by itself, so we're going to start by getting rid of the third wheel. The opposite of a subtracting 7 or a negative 7 is plus or positive 7. So we're going to add to both sides, leaving me with negative 6a is less than or equal to 24. Then we're going to divide by a negative 6. And if you remember the rules from yesterday, anytime that I multiply or divide by a negative, I have to reverse or switch my inequality symbol. So I'm left with a on this side, and now instead of being less than or equal to, it will be a greater than or equal to, and 24 divided by negative 6 is negative 4. All right, up here, here's my couple. I want to get rid of my third wheel, so I'm going to subtract 30. Of 20 is greater than 0.8x, dividing by 0.8. 20 divided by 0.8 leaves me with 25 being greater than x. Okay. Last on this page, here's my couple. I want to get rid of this positive 5, so I'm going to subtract 5. Negative 9 is less than a negative 3n. To separate the negative 3 times the n, I have to divide by negative 3. And because I'm dividing by a negative, I'm going to flip my inequality sign. And negative 9 divided by negative 3 is positive 3. All right, real life situations. In a community garden, you want to fence in a vegetable garden that is adjacent to your friend's garden. You have, at most, 42 feet of fence. The width of the garden must be 12 feet. What are the possible lengths of your garden? All right, we're looking for a perimeter. We're trying to put a fence around our garden. If you remember the formula for perimeter, it's 2 times the width plus 2 times the length. And in this case, it doesn't have to be equal. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. It could also be less than the full perimeter, the full 42. Okay, so I know that 42 is the biggest it can be. That's kind of our total. And I also know that my width is 12 feet. Must be 12 feet. So where there's a W, I'm going to put a 12. And for the rest, I'm going to leave it. Now when I start to simplify, I will keep my 42 2 times 12 is 24, and then we still have plus 2 times the length. Here is my couple right here, so I'm going to get rid of this third wheel. 42 minus 24 gives me 18, still greater than or equal to 2 times the length. Then I'll divide by 2 on both sides and find out that 9 is greater than or equal to my length. So my length has to be less than or equal to 9. 9 is the longest that it can be. You want to make a rectangular banner that is 18 feet long. You have no more than 48 feet of trim for the banner. What are the possible widths of the banner? Okay, so same idea. You are making a rectangular banner. The biggest we can go is 48, so it could be equal or it could be less than. It has to be 18 feet long, so 2 times 18 plus 2 times W. Okay, well 2 times 18 is 36. I'm going to get rid of that 36 because I won't have that left to use. That leaves me with 12 feet for the two widths. When I divide by 2, that tells me that my width has to be less than or equal to 6. What is the solution of 3 times t plus 1 minus 4t is greater than or equal to negative 5? All right, all the same rules apply to solving equations. We are going to start with our train tracks and then distribute. This should match your Don't Call Me After Midnight cell phone worksheet thing that I gave you to use as a key. If you still have that, you can use those steps here as well. All right, so when I distribute, I get 3t plus 3 minus 4t is greater than or equal to negative 5. When I combine my like terms, I end up with negative 1t plus 3 is greater than or equal to negative 5. Here's my couple, so I'm going to get rid of the third wheel by subtracting 3. So I have negative 1t is greater than or equal to negative 8. Then I'm going to divide by this negative 1, and because I'm dividing by a negative, I'm going to switch my inequality so that it now says less than or equal to, and find out that t has to be less than or equal to a positive 8. Okay, last one for today. What is the solution of 15 is less than or equal to 5 minus 2 times 4m plus 7? All right, same idea. We're going to start with distributing. Remember that we are distributing the full negative 2. So on the right side, we are going to have 5 minus 8m minus 14. I'm going to combine these like terms. Okay. Then I'm going to get rid of this third wheel by adding 9. And I'm going to divide by negative 8 to separate the couple. Because I'm dividing by a negative, I'm going to switch my inequality symbol and find out that negative 3 is greater than or equal to m. All right, because this is split into 2 parts, the assignment for the full lesson